Hey everybody, it's Matt from Red Wings Rant. Of course, let me recap here because I'm probably going to be attaching this to the end of an episode I just recorded, so you guys all know what's going on here. But I guess, for anybody that's listening to Hungry for Hawks Talk podcast, that's who I am. So if you guys want to jump on board with the old Lake Michigan rivalry, kind of, even though we're on the other side of Michigan. Come on board to Red Wings Rant and see what's going on. And of course, today, for all the Red Wings Rant listeners, we have, just like a couple of weeks ago, we have Grant from, I just said it, Hungry for Hawks Talk podcast. Grant, how you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm doing good. Can you tell that my notes are scattered and all over the place just by this intro?
Yeah, it's all good, man. We're doing it live. It's improv. We're going for it.
I'm looking at my face right now. So for personal reasons, I had to shave. There may or may not be.
You had like a survival Bear Grylls beard going on last time we talked.
It was definitely, I don't have to leave the house, so what am I doing? And now my brother and I, we actually both have a reason to leave the house. I don't want to get into that, but man, I'm looking at, I guess I haven't seen my face without facial hair on this camera. It looks awful. Oh my God. I'm not excited to record.
You look fine.
I look like such a baby. Grant, I digress. Let's get into the hockey talk here. Last time we talked, so we were 4 games into the season, right? Red Wings were 2-2. Blackhawks, I think you guys were 0-4, maybe 0-3-1 or something like that at that point.
Yeah, we started off 0-4.
Okay. Yeah. It definitely took a turn, I would say, where my hype level was at 2-2, and where you were at with 0-4. I think this conversation, it would be interesting to actually listen to these back to back, because I went as far as to say, and you agreed with me, that we were going to take both games that weekend against the Blackhawks, and man, oh man, did it not go that. I mean, oh my gosh, it's been 4 games now of I'm fine saying it, complete domination by Chicago over Detroit.
Yeah.
How does it feel from your perspective?
I mean, it feels good. It feels good in that, I can't, it feels good to win, because it's always, winning is always fun. You can see it in the play. You can see it in the players. Like, they're having fun out there, which is something that, we did not have last year. There was no kind of, other than in the playoffs, like in the expanded playoffs when we actually snuck in there by technicality. It was kind of like,
there's other reasons that, Red Wings fans think that you guys got in there. They were checking the docket and seeing how far down were the Blackhawks. All right, this is where we can draw the line here.
Yeah, we can make 500 a thing. It's we're not at the basketball level where like a 473 winning percentage is a playoff team. But yeah, anyway, it's fun to watch these guys play. So it's good in that sense. It's bad in the sense that I can't get power down for Owen going anymore. Like you said, last time we talked, I even went so far to say that, that we would end up below the Detroit Red Wings this year. Yeah, simply because I figured, you guys had some pretty good offseason additions. I thought Thomas Greiss would be a decent goaltender moving forward. Bobby Ryan was doing his thing there, and but nope, it has not happened like that. Eh?
Well, what's funny too, I think the most chirping that we got, it was positive for us and negative for you guys, was from the Nashville Predators, who, they took care of us pretty handily. It's definitely from an advanced analytics perspective in the last game. But you guys are standing pretty tall over those Predators right now too. So they kind of definitely took a tumble. That was really where I started to take like a harder look, because I think at the beginning of the season, we all kind of knew with the injuries that it was going to be a struggle for Chicago. It's just those first 4 games were such an eye opener, and I think if anything, getting that chance to have your way with the Red Wings, like it almost, I don't know if you want to say like open the floodgates, or it was just that opportunity for them to like build some chemistry. Like let's build up morale, because that. Those 2 games, man, they weren't fun for me to watch, but you could see on the Chicago bench, like that was fun. That was something, I think, to them where they were like, holy crap, look at this, look at what we're doing, huh? We're like a real hockey team.
Yeah.
But yeah, it might have been good timing. It might have been one of those things where I like to think that all sports fans at some point have watched Major League. I don't know if you're a fan of the film, baseball movie, Charlie Sheen. No,
I haven't actually seen that one. No,
good one. Should. It's about Cleveland Indians that are struggling at the time, and they were like well known when this film came out as like a team that's just never going to win a championship. Right. So they tell this story about Cleveland just is going to tank on purpose and then move down to Florida, and You got to see kind of like those first 4 games from the Blackhawks, and then they caught like a sniff of like what upper management was trying to do, and they just flipped it. Everybody became buddies. They got to know each other. It's a classic sports comedy. I like to think. Highly recommend it for anybody that hasn't had a chance to check it out. Definitely was an opportunity for Wesley Snipes and Charlie Sheen to let the world see what they can do. But besides that, I think right now it's that story of what the Chicago Blackhawks did, because they just needed, instead of banding together against upper management, I think they just banded together just by destroying us. And they said, hey, I think we can do this. I think now I did want to throw this out, and then I want to toss it back over to you on what you think that game really did for you guys. But is it pious or pious? Because Mike Tirico is what threw the wrench in for me on the last time the Red Wings and the Blackhawks played.
Right.
How do you pronounce that first name for Suter?
I think I've heard it from our guys, and also from Eddie Olczyk and the other guys and stuff. And I'm pretty sure it's Puce Suter.
Oh my gosh! So Puce both of the ones Suter that I had in mind were wrong. All right, so thanks a lot, Mike Tirico.
But like, you read it and it's pious, right? I'm guilty of saying pious as well, but I think it's just Puce.
That'll be easy to remember, because I won't be mixing up pious and Mike Tirico's I think beloved here in Detroit, because that's where he's from. But he's heard us before with this garbage. All right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that's where we could move the conversation is how you feel. From that Major League complete. I guess I didn't need to go too deep into that movie, but yeah, like what you see on those parallels of how the movie you haven't seen.
I also wouldn't be surprised if that's exactly what happened in the locker room. I honestly would not be. I don't think the relationship between the players and upper management is all that great, especially with Stan Bowman at the helm. It's been pretty well documented that he doesn't care what the players think, which is something that can, rub players the wrong way, especially the guys that have been there for decades and have won you championships. Right. I think their voices deserve to be heard. So, going into this season, we had everything stacked against us, right? We walked away from a franchise goaltender who ended up retiring. Our captain was injured. He's still injured. He's still out. We don't know when he's coming back or if he's coming back. Kirby Dach, our rookie sensation from last year, who took a big step forward going into the playoffs last year, was out after one shift in the World Junior Championships, which to this day, I still think that was the right decision for him to go. All the people who say, it's just a silly tournament, who cares? It does matter, because he's a Canadian boy. It matters for Canadians. So that's it. Like it doesn't matter what you think of the tournament. It matters to him. It matters to Kirby Dach. It matters to his family, to his friends. So I don't think anybody can say anything about that.
There's a lot of recency bias mixed in there, because if he comes out of that tournament with like an MVP award, nobody's batting an eye.
Precisely. And it's like everything would have, like, the benefits of that happening far outweigh, any negative things that are going to happen. And, he's still 19. He's only 19 years old. Yes, he loses a year of development, but it's not like he's stalling, right? Like he already has that NHL experience. He's been around with the guys. He was with us the whole year. He knows what it takes to succeed in this game. So I'm not worried about Kirby Dach at all. I still think it was the right decision to send him to the World Junior Championships. But yeah, everything was stacked against us. We had all these new guys come in, all these new guys that were hungry, waiting for their opportunity to jump into the lineup and show that they belong in the NHL. Got their opportunity, and now they've started to roll with it. We would not be in this spot without Kevin Lankinen too. I mean, Kevin Lankinen has really stepped up and really stood on his head for a lot of the games, because our defense is still pretty suspect. Like you saw it in our most recent game against Columbus Blue Jackets, where it was a shootout. It was a shootout gallery. A lot of our defensive play and miscues are still there, but the effort is better this season, which is something that was not present last year. And you are starting to see Kevin Lankinen start to make some mistakes. He is still a rookie, so mistakes happen. We have some young guys on the back end, Ian Mitchell, Boqvist, they're still making mistakes, but the majority of the play this year has been a complete 180 from how we've been playing last year. Guys are back checking more, and I think I wouldn't be surprised, going back to my point at the beginning, that if the veterans were kind of like, like, we're not done. We're not done. We are saying that we're going into a rebuild, but with the likes of Duncan Keith and Patrick Kane, we can still win. And they're showing that today and this season so far.
Yeah, I think one of the things with Lankinen too is he's diversified his portfolio a little bit here, where at the start, when he had those hot games against the Wings, I think you could probably look at that and just go, you know what? The Wings are going to play low event. They're not going to score goals. So ho-hum. But when you take a look at the game log, and I'm guilty, everybody that's listening, I'm pulling it up just now for the first time. But I mean, sure, Detroit's the shutout, but you've got Nashville, Dallas, Columbus, Carolina, all mixed in there with above 930 save percentage games, and the shots are there. I think as Grant, you're watching every game, so the shot totals are going to be up in those Chicago Blackhawks games. At least that's what I can look at right here with Lankinen. It's almost, I guess I don't want to, I'm tiptoeing here. I think it's pretty obvious. It's legit a great start to his career. Yeah. I think we could say that. Yeah. He is scaring the crap out of me, though, that it has been just, for the lack of a better term, and using it for the second time on this episode. But I mean, domination between him and what he's seeing when the wing wheels coming down at him. But it is something, at least for Red Wings fans, that and the reason I mentioned that is that this isn't one of those things that he's just getting those numbers up against us, because that was one of the things I've seen bantied about online, and it's like, so what? He's not that great. It's just against us. But I mean, for all intents and purposes, I mean, this guy, you could make the argument. I know the Hart conversation is starting for Patty Kane, and I did want to get into that. But for what Lankinen is going to have to do to be successful here, and if Patrick Kane is just, he's being Patrick Kane, right? I mean, yeah. that's you see what he's doing right now. It's just, okay, he's scoring like Patrick Kane has been scoring his entire career.
Yeah.
If Lankinen comes in and finds the success and continues it for the rest of the season, maybe he gets that save percentage up a couple more points. I don't know. This guy could be wearing some hardware. He should be in the conversation if this team is in the playoff conversation come the end of the year. Yeah. Even if they're just in the conversation, I think that is that big of a difference. And he does look, like you put it, he's standing on his head. It does look that crazy every game. Like it does look like this guy is doing everybody's kung fu fighting with the go to the old music video. And I mean, the guy is just moving all over the ice. We come back to the shot attempts is it's got to be scary. I know for Red Wings goaltenders, they get to come in and know that it might be a nice, easy night besides the last game for the Red Wings. But I mean, I guess I know you want to be cautious as somebody that is you're hosting a Blackhawks podcast. You're watching the games. You don't want to be the one that's going to sit there and say, this guy's grabbing hardware. But yeah. I mean, if I'm completely honest, and I've been watching hockey for like 20 years now, this is the kind of thing, it's a great story, but it's one of those things that you almost want to make sure that you are starting to campaign for the hardware, because this could be a one and done. We've seen, the likes of like Jordan Binnington, despite, much longer road to the NHL. Yes. We've seen that completely fall off. So this is one of those things where I am, the brand is, I hate the Blackhawks, but with how that guy's playing, I just don't know. Like it's almost like you got to do the job, right? As us hosting and me trying to be less of a Blackhawks hater. I'm fine saying it. I mean, that guy, he's the one that is that difference maker. That should be the big story at the end of the year. Should all of this continue to move in the same direction? But yeah, I know from your perspective, you probably want to be more cautious. But yeah, I mean, from my viewpoint, I'm sitting on the couch, but I see a guy that should at least be in that conversation because of what he's got in front of him.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like especially when you got Mr. Pylon Nikita Zadorov over there, just standing in front of you, doing nothing for you, except like, yeah, it's just my co-host and I have a thing about Nikita Zadorov. He has a bigger thing for him as well, but I don't know if he's going to win the Hart Trophy. He definitely should be. He definitely should be in the conversation with you. Like you said, I agree with you there. But
yeah, the Hart Trophy only Patty Kane. I don't want to. Yeah, you really got to blow socks off, right, for a goaltender to get a Hart Trophy nod. So
but Calder,
I agree with you there.
Calder, maybe the Calder Trophy might be something that's attainable for Kevin Lankinen. If he continues to play the way he's playing, and he has started to, he's at the beginning of the season, we couldn't really find any fault in his game. He was still getting figured out. He was making all the saves that he was supposed to. He was, just phenomenal throughout the first, I'd say 10-ish or so games. But then we start seeing him, we're starting to, his stamina is going to be an issue. Well, not an issue, but something to monitor, because he obviously hasn't played against this high of skill of competition before. And we're basically playing him every other night because he's the only viable option at goaltender that we have in order to win games. So we may be seeing him starting to tire a little bit. He's starting to let in goals that, maybe he should have. His rebound control is, has been a bit of an issue in that, he kind of has a hesitancy. Like I mentioned this a couple episodes ago in my podcast. He seems to have a hesitancy of holding the puck, and not, and waiting for the whistle. He kind of just wants, the team to go. And in certain points, yes, that's very good to do. But, at the same time, if your team's been hemmed in your own zone for over a minute, or at least for 30 seconds, even, you want to hold on to that puck and let your boys get some rest, get a line change, and try to win that face-off, right? Like so it's a few little things that he's going to learn, obviously, because he's still a rookie. But yeah, so Hart Trophy might be a little difficult.
Oh yeah.
But Calder, I think, is something that's very attainable. And I mean, the Blackhawks have honestly the pick of the litter when it comes to the Calder Trophy. We have so many. We must have the most rookies playing on a team in the league so far. I mean, you got Suter, you got Philip Kurashev, who's having a phenomenal season. Like, this is the thing. It hasn't just been Patrick Kane and Kevin Lankinen. Everything has been breaking right for the Blackhawks this season, despite all of the odds that were stacked against us, like I mentioned earlier, right? Seabrook didn't come back at the beginning of the season like we thought he would. He ended up sustaining an injury in training camp. Andrew Shaw has now since gone down with another concussion. He is out indefinitely, which is very, very unfortunate. Again, we mentioned the captain. We mentioned Kirby Dach. So we're having all these guys step in. Alex DeBrincat has found his confidence as well. He's finally become the winger that Patrick Kane has long missed since Artemi Panarin left. Well, not left, since we traded him. So, all these things have really been the reason that the Chicago Blackhawks are where they are. Everybody's been kind of playing above their projected, I guess, skill level. So it's just been it's been fun to watch, right? I mean, at the beginning of the season, we're 3-1 against the Florida teams, and I thought, you know what? Yeah, this is what we expected. We knew this was going to happen. Look at all these things that are against us, and we found the answer in net. We found the answer in up front in our top 9, I would say, forward group. Everything seems balanced right now, despite not having Kirby Dach and Jonathan Toews in the lineup. And our defense has been holding up.
And I'll throw out there, I mean, I'm still, like I said, you got to get that save percentage up. But I definitely think if you can get that a little bit higher, then probably the Vezina is probably where my head's at. But what I wanted to throw out, though, is, I mean, your guys' PDO right now is at 98.9. So there is that suggestion. I know we're not in that threshold of being over 103 or below 97. So everybody kind of in that between 97 and 103, you're kind of in that realm of like, okay, they're playing where they should be playing. But there's still wiggle room for this team to be like a smidge better, right up to 100 PDO. So the league average for shot is probably where you guys are at 9.9, and I think I was just looking it up. I think it's like 9.7. So that's going to stay the same. So the difference here, and this is where that argument still sticks. I think Calder's extremely that's the most believable one for Lankinen. But if they, considering how far they could fall to being league average in goaltending, and I think they're at 913 right now, and league average is around like 903 or something like that. So they're falling like 10 percentage points. That's, again, I'm just throwing another dart in the old Vezina candidacy. I'm higher on this guy probably because I'm not as close, but yeah, he's set. You could be pretty happy. Now, all right, we got to tell some Red Wings stories here because, Chicago, you guys are fine. I will throw out there too. I did want to ask, like, it's one of the things that popped in my head probably a couple weeks ago, but now it seems like less of an issue. But Chicago, Detroit, and I think Ottawa. Like, it's funny. We've all played our games, but going back to like the Discover Central, sticking with that, I think it is funny that Detroit and Ottawa is the one. Those are the two teams that the league is like, no, get them out there. I don't care how many COVID guys they have. Just get Detroit and Ottawa's season done. But Chicago is one of the other teams that have also played. I'm just guessing because you're at 20, right? There hasn't been a single game rescheduled yet.
There hadn't been up until Saturday. They decided to. So I did talk about this last week. They decided to. We were supposed to have a back-to-back against Carolina in Carolina on Friday and Saturday. We played the game on Friday, and then they postponed the one on Saturday so that Carolina could play Tampa.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All
so
right.
I think the reasoning behind that, the reasoning behind that was because we had already played so many games, and throughout the season, we only had like more than 2 days off twice since the beginning of the season. So I guess the league just decided, look, Chicago's played X amount of games. Let's just give them the 3 days off, and then they have those 3 days, and they can go to Columbus or whatever, do whatever they do, and then they'll play on Tuesday after playing on Friday, and then we'll just get Tampa rolling, I guess, after they got postponed. So
here, my conspiracy with all that, by the way, is just I think the league just wants to erase the conversation when it comes to you've got the North Division and then the Central. If any team's like, you know what, I didn't get my 8 games against Detroit this year, so put in my extra 4 points before we calculate the points percentage. But I'm deadly serious. I think there's something to that. So where they can just go, you know what, everybody got their Detroit games, all right? So be quiet over there. And I'm allowed to make those jokes. All right. But what I was going to say was a couple weeks ago. This is how far I can digress from where my points were going. You guys had so many more games than what was going on in the Central, along with Detroit. It did kind of feel like eventually everybody was going to catch up. But now when you look at the standings, sure, Chicago's goal differential is 0 right now. But I mean, your competition is Columbus, who's also played 20 games. But you could easily point to their -10 goal differential, and of course you've got 3 points on them as well. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like right now does it still feel like it could shatter at any moment? I mean, besides the fact that you have 2 games against us coming up this weekend, so you've got to feel pretty good about that. But does it feel like are you nervous? Are you waiting for it to just break at any point?
I mean, honestly, no, I don't. I mean, we've been playing pretty sustainable hockey. I mean, we're still winning despite all of the gaffes that we're making in our defensive end. Like, there are times where we are swimming, like literally swimming on ice in our own defensive zone. There is no reason the puck can't be out of our zone, or like, I don't know how we keep it out of the net, but we somehow do. A lot of the times we don't, right? Because it's just, that's the way it is, especially when Zadorov is on the ice. But
yeah, there's definitely
despite all that,
for that. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Despite all that, we're still where we are, and I mean, if we fall, I don't know. I don't see it happening. I mean, Tampa Bay has been. I expect Tampa to be tops. They've only played 16 games. They'll get up there. Columbus has been kind of tough. Like it looks like they're still trying to figure out, their team chemistry. And obviously we know the type of talent Line A is, but so far in the games that we've played against Columbus, we've had their number. I mean, I believe we're winning the season series so far against the Columbus Blue Jackets. And every game that we've played against them, they've been close. They've been a lot of barn burners, a lot of shootouts in terms of like back and forth chances. But we've come out ahead. So I don't think. I mean, there's also Dallas. That's true.
I was going to say we're forgetting Dallas because they've played only 13 games.
Yeah, but they've lost their past 5 games.
Yeah, I'm looking at that points percentage and going, man, how hanging on like that? Good gravy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I guess with Dallas there, I think that's me far overlooking probably the closer of any real threat, and especially with the points percentage. So let's say they, what a point percentage is going to mean to them if they can get on a win streak. And I think right now we're probably in that realm where not everybody's going to finish a season. So each one of those wins, each one of those points that they get is going to it's actually going to have more value, I guess, in my opinion, with less games played. If they get, especially depending on who they have left. And I know they've only played us a couple of times. So when you compare, I know it's still 4 games. We're comparing 6 games to 4 games in regards to what Dallas has. And I'm sitting. This is ridiculous for anybody listening. They're right now doing the math, going, "Wait, he's just considering every game against Detroit as a loss." Look, that's what happens. All right, I've been burned so many times in the last couple of weeks. We get a win, and then I go ahead onto DraftKings, which, by the way, use promo code THPN when you're signing up with DraftKings to unlock some, what do you call them, exclusive offers.
Yes.
Go onto DraftKings. I'm like, you know what? Wings are looking pretty hot. They've got the Panthers number. Light it up. Give me the money line on this, and try to build some parlay because I think we're gonna really make out. And like it hurts me financially and mentally at this point. So I am gonna go ahead and say every game going forward is lost. But I guess the best way to wrap that up is.
So what he's saying, listeners, is to bet against the Detroit Red Wings in every game that they play, and maybe you won't hurt as much in the wallet as Matt.
God, we've even done. So for anybody that is interested, if you are just an NHL fan, we do our bodpodcast.com/Red Wings rant. We do our blogs. We just did our first pregame video, so not part of the podcast or the vodcast, just us doing a pregame video and throwing in our predictions. And our whole group, we all picked Detroit in the last game against Nashville. It just, the only question that was thrown out was who was in net. And not for 1 second did we go, did we make 6 or 7 trades for different forwards? No? Oh, okay. Like we summed it up to Bernier being in net because he has been fantastic, but there were no questions about, how long has Mantha been on a goalless streak? And what is it, 1 point and how many 6 games? I mean, it's for Detroit, it is ugly. And this is where we transition into what's going on and what we thought this conversation was going to be about all season. I even thought we had some hope going into the third and fourth game against Chicago that we were going to I really said, you know what, we're going to give it back to them. That was what we said on the podcast. Look out, guys. We're getting healthier. We're going to come back. We're going to steal a couple of wins. And, one of the things I think is ignored a lot or kind of thrown to the side, even by Red Wings fans, is how hard we actually were hit by COVID. Even our GM, Steve Yzerman, threw out in his press conference yesterday, how surprised he was that the league didn't shut the Wings down. And again, going back to my conspiracy that they wanted to make sure all those Wings games get out of the way. But I mean, we've had our top 6 forwards out of the lineup, and something that before the season started, my brother and I in our episodes for the preview, we said teams will get shut down when their top 6 forwards are out because that's bad for PR. But no, it didn't happen for the Red Wings. We just had to persevere. We had to go into Chicago shorthanded. We went about 3 weeks shorthanded. I mean, even now when we go into this weekend series, we have our one of our top 6 forwards, Tyler Bertuzzi, for the Chicago Blackhawks fans that don't know the entire roster off the top of your head. I mean, this is a guy that for us is really the key to start the engine for our power play. And I'm basing a lot of that on statistics, considering we are now 0 for 38, I think, on the power play. 38 chances in a row. Maybe we hit 40. He's the only one that's actually putting up points and goals. So since he's been out, it's been even worse. But I mean, we do lack talent. And if we had a full roster, we're still going to struggle. We're not finishing above 500. But, I mean, those were the first 2 games where we really got hit, was the first 2 games in Chicago. And we never really got our head back above water. Now, this is the Detroit Red Wings side where it's like, we're competing in games right now, but we could really be competing. Are we going to win them? I don't know. It's still the same. Like, it's still Dylan Larkin and Anthony Mantha who aren't scoring. So can I really say that with them playing on the same line that all of a sudden they're going to start scoring? If Bertuzzi's in there, maybe a couple of extra points here or there. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that this season is a struggle, but it has been a little bit worse than people are giving it credit to in regards to our bad luck. I mean, especially if you're going 0 for 40 on the power play. Yeah. That is beyond what a graph is even going to show when our, top hockey analysts are putting whatever their favorite graph is together to analyze everybody's special teams. I mean, we're breaking barriers that would be on that. We're forcing the top NHL analysts to actually spread the range of whatever they're measuring in regards to power play with how bad we are. And that's again, I think it can be attested quite a bit to that lack of talent. But yeah, I think when this season's all wrapped up, I think we'll still be coming back to, and part of it is PR, part of it's please buy season tickets next year. We were this close. But there's a massive element of truth in regards to losing some of the guys that we've lost and saying that this season's been bad, but I think we could have fought back a little bit better had COVID not gotten in the way. Had we had games canceled, like almost every other team in the league has had games canceled. So with that, I guess the way to transition it is the last word, and this is the forward we as Wings fans think is the difference maker. The last word on Tyler Bertuzzi is from our head coach, Jeff Blashill, saying, we have no idea when he's coming back. Here's the thing. We're probably going to talk about it in our show. It means a great deal for you Chicago Blackhawks fans that are crossing your fingers for another 2 wins. I will say there's an element to that. And I guess what's funny is you've probably already heard this conversation if you're listening to Red Wings Rant, because this will be following that conversation. But I think the best thing going for the Chicago Blackhawks, for any team in the Central right now, is the decision-making on the rosters, hearing that Tyler Bertuzzi really has no timetable for return, because I think we've officially given up. I think what we're going to see is piling on. I think we're going to see the teams start to fade away. They've been fighting really hard. And especially with a team that can't even cross the blue line on the power play, I mean that's our biggest struggle is just entries on the power play, which is insane to me. When you have that, you have an advantage, and to really struggle like that. But yeah, I think, and we'll touch on this too on the show. But it was one of our worst forwards. He's been listed as the lowest value return of any forward in the league is Franz Nielsen. By people much smarter than me. Dom Leshizin from The Athletic always has him on his ratings of comparing the amount you're spending on a forward, what you're getting back production-wise. Here's how you sum up this tank is happening and how good and the gravy the gravy train coming through on Chicago. Nielsen was placed on our first line in practice today. So while we're recording this, so to sum that all up, I think it's official. It does hurt that we don't have Tyler Bertuzzi. I think there's an element to it of losing Tyler and saying we probably could have snuck in a couple extra wins here, and it wouldn't look as hideous to look at the standings. But yeah, I think long story short, when we're taking a look at who's going to win this weekend, I think the tank is officially on with that roster decision. So yeah. I know Franz Nielsen, he definitely had a bigger name in the NHL when he was with the Islanders.
Yep.
And I mean, probably getting those bonus points from Tavares, but
yeah.
it is one of those things that he fell, and he fell hard. And a guy that he was actually went through waivers less than a week ago is now on your first line. I really do think this is that sign. And you could draw so many lines. Steve Yzerman just had the press conference with the media, which pretty much said we're open for business for trades, right? That's a huge sign that your team is done and you're tanking. But I think this decision is really where it puts it, past whatever you want to say, is going behind the curtains when you're doing press conferences, whatever the GM's doing, and the difference between that and what's on the ice, because now what's on the ice is one of our worst forwards on the first line. And I don't know what you want to do with that, Grant, but I think that's the best way to sum up. I'm going to be putting money anywhere else besides Detroit for the rest of the season. That was a long monologue. That was a tough one. I didn't have a clear direction when I started, but I think we can all see how close we are as Red Wings fans to being depressed, or if we're not there yet, how close we all are, or how deep some of us might be. But yeah, that's the long and short of it. And I'm Grant. I'm so glad you're laughing because I bet this sounds awful right now. Here, I think we're going to be getting emails and messages and DMs checking in on us now.
Are you okay,
Matt?
That
was horrid. Yeah, right.
Are you okay?
Yeah, look at this smile. Don't look at the tears that are streaming down my cheeks right now. Look at this smile. It's probably a healthy bet that if you're listening to this portion right now, Matt probably cut down about half that monologue. Grant, I don't want to put any work on you, any undue pressure to edit that down, but holy crap, was that depressing. But yeah, after 10 minutes of tirade there, we are Red Wings Rant after all.
Yes.
How good does it feel to know you've got a tanking team coming in?
I mean, I'll take the 2 wins. I'll take the 2 W's.
It's so hard to dissect because it's just kind of like, yeah, we did make decisions to make it a tank.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough because, like, you don't want to be making excuses for your team, right? That's
Right.
one of the biggest things. And I mean, if I can say, we were hit with COVID as well, the Blackhawks were, and we did lose some pretty significant pieces. We lost DeBrincat, we lost Walmark, we lost Boakfist, we lost, I think Carpenter was out for a little while as well. But we lost quite a few of our offensive firepower. Patrick Kane was still in there, so we were fine. But, you know, the fact that we were still able to win games, again, I'm not trying to, you know, as much fun as it is, I'm not trying to put more salt on the wound, but you know, it's hard because you really need to have that kind of to have that locker room mentality. And I think that's where Detroit struggles, is that they don't have that oomph to win. They don't have the desire or the will to just be like, you know what? I don't care that we're shorthanded today. We're going to give it our all and play our best. And that's all we can really do. And I think that has kind of permeated the locker room in the Chicago Blackhawks organization. A lot of it has to do with, obviously, our leadership and Patrick Kane, who, you know, I think since becoming a father this past summer has really matured. And, you know, now that I think he's accepted that, you know, he needs to take on more of a mentorship role with our younger guys, he's really excelled in that. Duncan Keith obviously continues to play the way he's playing. In fact, Duncan Keith was starting to get a little annoyed with all the people asking him, "Oh, like how's Boakfist or Ian Mitchell coming along? How are you enjoying, like, you know, being a mentor and all these things?" And he's like, "They're grown ass kids. Like they're grown ass men. Like I don't need." Basically, he was like, "I don't need to wipe their ass. Like they play the way they play. I give them pointers. That's it. They take it or they leave it, and they just play. Like but like that already shows you the expectation in that locker room. I don't care if you're a rookie. I don't care that you've only played 13, 20 NHL games. You're in this locker room to win, and that's what is expected of you each and every single day. If your number comes up and the opportunity comes up, then you play. And everybody has really, really bought into that. I mean, you watch the guys play, Brandon Hagel, Philip Kurashev. You watch all these rookies come in and step into the lineup seamlessly. They haven't had any hiccups or anything like that to begin the season. On defense, it's been a little bit, like Ian Mitchell has made a few mistakes, as I mentioned. Boakfist is still learning. Zadorov has been a train wreck. But
yeah, I'm learning that.
Yeah. So you might get some goals from Zadorov, courtesy of Zadorov. So you should maybe, if you have like an individual bet for amount of goals against because of one player, maybe take it on Zadorov. But yeah, I mean it's I think that's where Stevie Yzerman knows how to win, and I think once he translates that, once he shows the guys in that locker room what it takes to be a winning franchise, I think, you guys will be on your way. You just need a few guys to step into the room who, kind of can go about their business and show the kids, how to play, essentially.
Yeah, and I think one of the best things he said this week, and I mean this works for Chicago as well, works for everybody. This wasn't a statement about his team, but it was a statement about hockey, and it's something for Red Wings fans that I really hope they take to heart. And it's goals and assists and making those plays. What he said, that's instinct. He said that's how you made it to this league. You're not coaching guys, you're not developing guys to learn how to score goals and make assists. So to that, I mean, the whole point he brought that up actually is because of the struggles and where he wants to see the team focusing from a development standpoint is how to play tighter, how to play a better defensive game, and what to do when you're winning those battles on the boards, and the types of things of like when to pinch, like that's where you're building on hockey smarts, making those decisions. I think that's where Steve Yzerman wants his team to move to. But to your point, and needing those guys in the locker room, I think Steve was almost making a comment that this team's not just missing like that gumption, that last push to win. I think he was making a comment that they just don't have the goal scoring. They don't have these, and I'm not really breaking any, I'm not like knocking the wall down here and everybody's going, oh, wow, yeah, that's probably right. They don't have any talent. I just think it's huge that a GM, and this is me making a lot of connections, I'm taking maybe too big of a step to make the connection, but I'm pretty sure that's where he's coming from. I think he's speaking to the fan base. He's speaking to the media. And partially when I said he was saying they were open for business for trade talks, that's where this conversation came from. But he's pretty much saying, like, look, we don't have it right now. We're not going to win. And again, that's why we're open for business. That's why anybody, you can come in, trade, just send us draft picks. But even the guys that we're really high on, even a guy like Mantha, who just got a 4-year deal and not a super high contract for a top line winger at $5 million a year. You don't see that number and shake or anything like that compared to what Chicago's got going on. But it puts them top 3 guys getting paid on this team. And Yzerman's pretty much saying, like, look, if these guys were going to be scoring goals and getting assists, it would have already happened. Like it's not something that we're hoping Jeff Blashill's going to do something coaching wise, and then all of a sudden it's going to click. All of a sudden these guys are elite talent. And I to your point of keeping these guys' butts clean, I think to that end, all that poo-poo is just the goals and assists. Like that's where these kids got to this league because they had that talent. Not everybody has elite talent. They're definitely more talented than you and I. Well, actually, Grant, I won't speak for you. They're definitely more talented than me.
You can say that, yeah.
So it's all about fitting in a scheme and making that work eventually. And a lot of these guys that are on, both of these teams, you'd probably say a large percentage of them are trying to fit holes rather than be the guy that's out being the Patrick Kane. So with that, I guess to kind of double up on your point, agree with you, and definitely give you that nod. Like you are seeing like the right thing. You're saying the right things, and you're seeing what we're seeing as Red Wings fans. And now you also saw exactly what Yzerman was speaking on. And we're getting close to an hour here, so I don't want to keep you too much longer. But I mean, I feel like there ain't too many different ways to dissect what's going on with the Wings. I think the main point here for this conversation for Blackhawks fans to hear is that the Red Wings have made some subtle, maybe passive aggressive at times comments about their talent, but more subtle nods that they are open for business. So to that end, hey, probably 2 free wins.
Yep. We'll take them.
So, yeah, I think if the Wings are going to be getting wins from now on moving forward, and I think one of the things that's going to change is I I think our top goaltender, Jonathan Bernier, might be headed out sooner rather than later, especially due to COVID. I think you want to get these guys traded well before the trade deadline if there's a possibility. I think he just played himself off the team the last couple of weeks because he's doing too good. But put this nice little bow on there. It's just that we're going to see the Red Wings start making moves that are just going to probably damper the morale in the locker room. And that's because these guys aren't going to be here when this team is playoff worthy. So break some hearts, but it's fine. You're going to, what's the old saying? You're going to crush people's spirits to make an omelet, I think is the, I'm kidding. It's crack a few eggs, but your face.
Something like that. Yeah.
That's what we'll have to do to get this team into winning form. I mean, yeah, for Blackhawks fans, I mean, the only name you're probably going to recognize in the next couple of years, because I fear for how long Mantha is going to stick around with his getting benched so often and losing minutes. But it's probably just going to be Dylan Larkin at this point.
Yeah.
But
I feel bad for that kid too.
You know, it's one of those things. Like you did make mention of like we don't have that guy that will a victory. I think he has the will, and I think he's a great captain. I just don't think he's not going to be Patrick Kane. He's not going to go out there and have whoever's, hey, this is who my center is today. All right, you're going to get 2 or 3 points today. Like it's just not who Dylan Larkin is. It's not who he's ever going to be. But he does have the heart. Like he is hockey. Like he's everything about hockey. He's probably going to be great in the Olympics. I bet he's going to bleed. He's going to bleed one extra color. That's going to be blue. Besides the red and white, he's usually bleeding. And I think that's going to be great for the Olympics. I think he's really going to look like a star there, especially with some better talent around him, because he'll be the guy mucking it up. He'll be the guy that's getting his nose dirty. But that I'm probably breaking Red Wings fans' hearts right now. But that's probably the best we're going to expect is like his best season will be something like upwards of 60 points, 70 points. He's going to look great. He's going to be this leader in the locker room. He's always going to skate hard, but he will not sniff a Hart Trophy his whole career. And that's fine. That's fine. Just saying. Just saying. All right. I'm taking, like you were supposed to come in and take the pot shots, and here I am running my team into the ground just out of frustration at this point. But I think I don't know if you have any parting thoughts, but I know I've talked myself into quite a hole here with Red Wings fans, so I should probably shut up at some point.
No, I mean I think you've said basically everything that I've wanted to say, and
sorry.
No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I mean there's really nothing else more to say. I mean, I am looking forward to our matchup this weekend.
That's good.
I'm looking forward to the 2 W's. And just hang in there, hang in there, because
this is what's going to happen now. The Wings are going to win both games.
Yeah,
and I'm going to get chirped at the entire time of what a terrible Red Wings fan I am.
Yeah, well, right after this series, we'll be playing the Tampa Bay Lightning 3 straight. So that is going to determine where we'll be for the rest of the season, I believe.
You know what? I'm glad you mentioned
points.
That's, I mean, for Red Wings fans, we had the conversation last year. We said, start looking around for these other games to watch, because you just get to know the rest of the NHL, know where you want to park your horse. And that is huge. I didn't know you guys were about to go up against the Lightning. I mean, that right there, that's like your first playoff series of the season. So if you take 2 out of 3 right there, I don't know. That could be it. That I think you nailed it. That's like the series for the Blackhawks to say, is this legit? Yeah.
Well, I mean, you look at this past month. We've had 3 losses in the month of February, and 2, 4, 7 wins. So March is going to be tough because we play Tampa 3, and then Dallas twice, Florida twice, Tampa twice, Florida twice, Nashville twice. So, those are going to be the teams that we're expected to be in the playoff hunt.
Probably having an easier time with Nashville, I'm going to say.
Yeah, but that's like at the end of the month, so it might, we never know. We never know. Maybe they'll figure it out. Maybe they'll start playing better. I doubt it because Nashville's just trash. So, anyway, but yeah, I mean, I think it's this next month. March is going to be obviously the defining. I mean, for everybody too. I mean, it's right around playoff time. So, in terms of the shortened season, so I think we're really going to understand the type of team that the Chicago Blackhawks are next month when we actually start playing. When we start playing tougher competition. I don't want to say actually playing tougher competition because the competition we've played so far obviously has been stiff as well. I mean, Carolina, Columbus, they're no slouches. And of course, Detroit, you do have your problems, but there is parity in this league. Any team can beat any team on any given night. So again, you cannot take anybody lightly. I don't think we'll be taking Detroit lightly. So, but I am looking forward to the 2 Ws.
You can't take away from us is we will show up for all 3 periods wearing our jerseys and our skates. So we haven't missed a game yet this year.
That is something that we can definitely count on, I guess.
I will say, well, look out if there's one thing that and we'll probably go over this in our episode in a conversation with my brother, but there's one thing to look out for. I am kind of hopeful. There's our Svechnikov, who's the brother of the much better in Carolina. He is called up right now. He's just been a healthy scratch so far, or he's been in our taxi squad. For Blackhawks fans, if they want something interesting to look for in this Red Wings series, besides seeing how many times Lankinen can do a cartwheel in the net and watch him knock everything away, would be an opportunity to see our Svechnikov and see if he can actually play up to his first round draft pick status. That's probably it. That popped in the old noggin. I wanted to. I'm just so negative about everything going on with the Red Wings. I was like, is there anything positive right now? But maybe Svechnikov will pull something off. All right. Grant, thank you so much. I hope we can connect again. Maybe we'll be closer in the standings and the Red Wings go on a 10-game winning streak.
Maybe.
Yeah, isn't that...
Anything can happen. Hey, anything can happen.
It's so hard to wrap these up now because for the beginning of the season, I could just be like, all right, after this series, we'll be in first. And now it's...
If you believe it, you can achieve it.
Yes. See, you should be hosting the Red Wings podcast because I just bring everybody down. I'm just like, all right, here's our expected goals again. Guess what? You're terrible.
Still bad.
All right. Thanks for coming on again, man. I hope Blackhawks fans, you enjoyed my teardown of my own team.
Thank you so much for letting me come on, and always fun to jump on and talk to you, and hopefully it'll be soon.
Yeah, next time I promise I'm gonna take some forced breaths so that I don't go on more 10-minute monologues. All right, thanks, man.
Yeah, this is gonna be an hour and 21-minute banger for me. So this is this is perfect.
All right, fit in a bunch of Hockey Podcast Network show heads in there.
Yes, sir. Yes,
or
sir.
No, maybe just one. They're kind of long.
Yeah.
taking a shot. All right. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
All right.